Army that are not that are not really applicable to Uniform Code of Military Justice. It would be absolutely devastating, and we are right now the greatest service the world has ever seen, and we would become a third world country, a third world army, if we were to remove commanders from the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
From Kotek, thank you. I'll come back on the different spanks. Okay. Admiral Shalansky.
Yes, sir. I'll agree.
Little troll, have fun. Tell the world what an insecure little faggot you are. Go ahead.
Darling, darling, let me be. Oh, something happened. Mercy on me. Bye, baby, I ain't ready to see. I'm coming to you, baby, with some more I do. I got the cold-hearted blues. Oh, please have mercy on me, baby. I got nothing to lose. I got the cold-hearted blues. I got the cold-hearted blues. Yeah.
Cases that I have looked at.
Aww.
My last job.
Look, he almost thinks he's like
that's,
something, doesn't he?
6.5 years. I would tell you.
Sorry it took me so long. It's just that your mother was finally tired of black fucking people. And, you know,
what is the most egregious, usually the most egregious kind of...
She's been having sex with a lot of black men lately, and I never thought she'd get bored, but she finally must have gotten bored. So, sorry it took me so long. Because, you know, now that your mom is finally bored with all those black men, you know, taking them 3 at a time in all 3 holes. I know she was. She finally came over here. So naturally, I was busy taking a shit. right in her mouth. Anyways, learn how to fucking insult somebody. Seriously, you're just not even good at it. But then again, I wouldn't expect much from you. What is this? Are you actually amusing yourself? Are you, like, childish enough? First of all, you can't even spell my fucking name right, even though it's written plain as day in plenty of places. Second of all, you're too chicken shit to even tell me your name. Uh-huh. But, you know. Every now and again, she does get tired of all that black cock. So your mama was over here. And it took me a while to get on the stream. It was a good shit, though. A really good shit. So, once again, you're here because you're chicken shit. And your leader's a chicken shit. And your father's a chicken shit. Your mother married a chicken shit, which is why she fucks black people all the time. Men and women, by the way. And, thing is, I have no problem taking childish insults from somebody who has no honor and is surrounded by people with no honor. You should have waited until I was actually talking about something. You know, it actually does you a little bit of good when you manage to interrupt me. But this is just fucking amusing. What, you come here just so I could fucking abuse your ego because I know how to insult you and you don't know how to insult me? By the way, this is going to the FBI. Just so you know. Yeah, smile, you're on candid camera. Hi. Troll face. Is that why you never show your face? Because you actually look like a troll too? Oh wait, we have an icon for that. Let's see here. There it is. Oh, look. I drew a picture for you. This is what I'm gonna put up every time your mom fucks another big black guy. Okay? Oh, look, there she goes again. Oh, look, there she goes again. Told you 3 at a time. Now, see, what you don't understand, you secluded little fucking pipsqueak, is that I'm from the fucking streets, okay? So I can handle you with words, or I could just knock the shit out of you, which is why you hide. I got you on all fronts, motherfucker, and you know it. So you come here, and what you're doing is whining about how small your dick is, how low your IQ is, and how little you understand shit about shit. That's what you're doing. And anybody who's worth a fuck can see it. Now, you done? You done embarrassing yourself? I'll put you in a little timeout. Okay? Like the little fucking infant that you are. And every time you use another fucking screen name, it makes it easier to narrow you down. You know that, right? Or are you that much of a fucking amateur?
No, I don't think we're going to have guidelines. That's up to the service. That's corrective action, but it's going to see what is happening in that market. In terms of guidelines, right? There are these standards and guidelines on how to conduct it.
But anyways. Aww. Look how cute. Now see, what you don't realize is that when I'm done having fun with you, I just do that. Now I don't even know that you exist. Can't see you. At all. No idea what you're saying. What I would like you to do is answer a question for me, though. What's it like to be afraid of someone else speaking? Like literally, of all the fucking things that anyone's ever been scared of, you people are scared of me speaking. Oh, poor little babies. Anyways. So, it's a lovely day in Louisiana. And it's nice and rainy outside. And fish tank. And anyways. So this Manipura, man, it is growing rather rapidly. Although it looks like I may have a voluntary frag breaking off.
Other general who's done the same service is less likely to be in all.
So the Senate Armed Service Committee
Would you agree with that?
is having a good old time.
Well, sir, I would just say that I don't know if awe is the word. I think respected. My father was a Vietnam vet. I will tell you the way they treated back in those days was just incredible.
It's fun timing. You see, Donald Trump has asked for a military parade, you know, and credit to all the Russian trolls for being complete fucking morons and helping this motherfucker get elected. We are now upgrading our entire nuclear arsenal and adding more nukes, and we're doing fucking military parades in Washington, D.C. That, I don't think is going to happen. But we're adding nukes, we're adding planes, we're adding ships. Good job. Anyways. So, let's go ahead and listen in on this for a minute. And then I want to talk about racketeering, because it's becoming a subject that I think is going to be relevant. I really do.
I want to ask you, Lieutenant General Ed Cordon recently commented to the AP that the Army is reviewing ways to improve senior officer corps through pilot initiatives. And can you please expand on one or more of these initiatives and explain how they reinforce ethical behavior in general officers?
Well, I will just tell you, it's a holistic study by the Chief Staff of the Army, and the Vice will have much more on this than I do, but really it is a study on basically health of our general officer corps. We particularly over the last 15, 16 years, we have run this general officer corps into the ground. Not to mention our soldiers, our sailors, our airmen, and the Marines. We have run this force into the ground. Many of us have been away from home years at a time. But we never take a day off. When I'm on leave, I'm attached to my BlackBerry and on my phone. My wife and I have these discussions many times. Okay, I am never disconnected from the Army. I lose leave every single year, even though we make sure that our subordinates take their 30 days of leave. We never take, we basically, we put it over weekends, we don't take any leave. So the health of the force really requires us to
This
give
is
those
fucking
officers
special.
a little bit of reprieve. So from making them take their leave.
Like, where do
Let
they
me
find
move on
people
to
as
the next
stupid as
question.
you?
I want
Fuck.
just a little more answers on things. In my experience in the military of people going forward for GO boards or general officers or senior level leaders in the military, it's been my experience, my personal experience, that I've seen far more people punished and prevented an IG complaint to hold up a guy who the promotion board goes past his MRD, and so he never makes general officer, or he doesn't make 06, or they don't make 07 or 08. Has your experience been that far more senior leaders are punished by being held or flagged for negative transactions by a IG complaint that is not substantiated as to those who get away with doing something wrong and never get punished?
Yes, sir, and that's the elephant in the room. That's the whistleblower reprisal issue. When we talk about numbers, whistleblower reprisal has skyrocketed because of the misuse and misapplication of whistleblower reprisal against senior officials. It is off the charts. I've been investigated twice for whistleblower.
And let me just real quick, and you guys understand. Junior members know, or junior members of the military know, that they have a commander they don't like for some reason. That if they file an IG complaint at the right time, it can end his career, even though they've done nothing wrong and nothing substantiated. Is that correct?
That is correct. So we can see a rise in complaints.
He's going
right around
to
the time
prison.
the list comes out.
He's going.
Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Okay, I have to write a parody.
Ms. Rose, you now return to private. Ms. Rose, you now return to private.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess, Mr. Chairman, I don't understand why members of Congress want to trash the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It is the one glue that holds our military together. We can critique it.
He's
we can
going
oversee
to
it,
prison.
We can hold it accountable.
He's
God
going
forbid,
with speed.
if people in the political environment ever
It's a song about
trash
Melania.
the Uniform Code of Military Justice and get rid of it. You think we've screwed up the military good now?
Oh, hey, Joey.
Put it in the hands of, with no UCMJ, and put it out there where we have people with no understanding of the institution that create Lord knows what. Good order and discipline, decisions, battlefield decisions that commanders have to make, that would all be eroded and gone. And we'd feel good about it.
I love this. The more this guy shows up, the
Now
more
we're just
fucking
on tables and pointing
evidence I
voting
have for my
fingers, talking
lawsuit.
about what went wrong as honorable people sit here before us and holding them to account. Yes, Mr. Chairman, I am on my high horse. How many of these offenses, General Quantick, were discovered outside of the military?
Sure, I can think of one where actually it was in the press, there was an individual that decided to go
So
to
only
press.
one out of all of the hundreds or even thousands of accusations that were all discovered by the institutions.
Yes, sir, something
Now,
anonymous.
where I come from, that's the hallmark of professionalism. You don't see that in IBM, and God knows we don't see that here in Congress. So I guess the question would be, why is it we think that it's a broken system? Yes, we have problems. Yes, we see oversight that Congress has to be responsible of, and we have civilian control of the military, and that is the great republic that we all serve. But it's somewhat a little bit offensive to suggest that the institution is unprofessional or somehow broken because it discovers its own problems. In the business community, people would love to have those problems. Congress, gosh, we would love to have our own accountability where we discover the problems before the American public does. In terms of generals overseeing the military, wow. Gosh, I mean, that's kind of like members of Congress overseeing government. How could that be? The military has a better rate of accountability than society as a whole, certainly better than Congress, and perhaps even better than Hollywood when it comes to offenses and things like this that we see. So I guess my question would
Stop it, you're turning me on. Where do you live? I want to come over.
what would be the damage that we see as we continue to inflate the problem?
Look at
Not
this
saying
fucking
ignore the
moron.
problem. We have to.
Ladies and gentlemen, the average Trump supporter.
We are doing that. We see that. But when it becomes
Fucking Christ.
inflated, and as was mentioned by my colleague from Mississippi, IG complaints come up, and then here come the investigations. And I've known many great warriors who were held from senior level command, later exonerated after a 2-year period. They would have been able to keep men and women alive in battle and great service to our republic. They never got the opportunity because. Could you speak to some of the other problems in your capacity as Inspector General? That when someone is exonerated, do they ever get their life back? Are they ever restored? Or does the ship just pass it by?
Sir, both happens. Sometimes the ship, it's based on timing. But sometimes the ship sails because investigations take long. I will tell you.
Sometimes the ship sails.
A couple months ago, I had a division commander just came back from Afghanistan, and I won't talk about his name, but he comes in.
I don't think you're gonna interrupt these guys. They can't hear you or see you.
This role employee a week before his change.
You're just making yourself look stupid. So please continue.
Throws an allegation out there. Now what happens is, of course, we spin up any investigation. He is flagged. No award at the end of a division commander.
You're making YouTube look completely incompetent, which I like.
The FORSCOM commander was coming
willfully
down there
incompetent.
to pin an award on this guy, but that's off. But he still was going to pin an award on the spouse.
In fact,
the spouse told
every screen name you make, every screen name you make,
so the
incriminates YouTube even more.
They also sacrifice. So one day we're going to wake up if we keep. We're gonna wake up one day and we're
except for my son from a previous life,
because we put people through hell. We put families through hell.
Who is, soldiers through hell. Real man who works on cars for a living.
We deploy them into combat. We bring them back, and here's your thing: so you're leaving without a award. There's this cloud over your head. Possibly lost your reputation, and then eventually he will get exonerated, and then he'll be because I looked at the case. There's nothing there. But this is the whistleblower reprisal. I have been investigated twice for whistleblower.
And by the way, since you seem to think I'm bothered by you calling me unemployed, I will remind you that I get paid to stay home. And, well, that's good for people like you that are out in the regular world. That way I don't fucking break them in half. That thing that would happen if you ever had the balls to, be yourself in person to anyone. 5-year-old girl could probably beat the shit out of you. It's not me deleting your shit, right? And I don't know the meaning of the word lonely. I'm married. I love being alone. Jesus Christ. I like... Dude, have you ever had a friend? Like a friend? Nigger kike. Yeah. About 70% German, you fucking mongrel. I mean, you just constantly make the case that you are inferior in every way. And then you go and use, like, slurs against me, as if I would be offended about my mixed blood. Somehow, even with all these things, mixed people all over the world are a lot smarter than you. But you are the typical Trump supporter, aren't you? So, how many instruments do you play? Like, what are your talents? Do you do anything? Like, well, anything at all? I mean, obviously you can't, like, read or spell very well. You're not, like, aware of the world on a basic level, and you certainly aren't very good at trolling. So, like, did your daddy give you the job? Jesus Christ. Oh wait, I almost forgot. Yeah. I'll try that again. Oh, that's... How's it going, Joey? Are you at home or are you at Acura? Stop saying your fucking fantasies out loud, you weird little queer. You can go ahead and handle that for me, Joe. So, Joey and I, in a former life, killed over 10,000 Bedouins single-handedly. Just the two of us. Does that make you mad? Now you see, Joey's existence proves that you should fear the fact that I'm going to be the one that judges you in the afterlife. See, Joey is my son from about 780 AD. When I realized I had a son, I called for him, and Joey came. I knew ahead of time his name would be Joey, because that's what they call a baby fucking kangaroo, isn't it? And I work in mysterious ways. So, you can quibble all you want about your denial. Meanwhile, the entire world screams out the truth. Oh, home till Saturday. Sweet. Oh. Man, I took one of my fucking wife's pain pills last night. That's why you didn't hear hide nor hair from me last night. Oh my God. Those things are a motherfucker. Like I don't do pills in general. That's just not my thing. I don't like any form of fucking mind-altering substance, especially not manufactured mind-altering or mood-altering substances. Got my cigarettes and I got my coffee. That's good enough for me. And usually if I need to sleep, I'll just work out. You know, get tired. But like, this fucking one little pill, I didn't wait. I took a nap. And then I woke up dizzy as fuck. Like, I just had my head between my legs, just, I had to go back to bed for like 10 o'clock. I woke up for like 2 hours. But anyways. Yep, my spine's broken in 3 places. And I have post-traumatic stress disorder. So I get paid to stay home, which means I am not allowed to seek employment. Now, the last job I had was selling Hondas. The job before that was as a parts manager at a motorcycle, ATV, and boat dealership. So, if you'd like to compare resumes, what's yours look like? I was a Russian troll, you know? Good God. Like, how do you convince yourself that you're, like, worth the meals that you eat? Anyways. I find it, you know, a little bit personally taxing that someone blessed with the gift of life could just squander it in such a way. But, you know, as far as, like, the actual insults this guy makes, holy fuck. And every time I start to get to him, he just runs away. Oh, look at him running away. He's gone now, Joey. One person watching. Yeah, it's funny. Before, all the little flat earth trolls reported me to their superiors, and my channel was suppressed because I was reporting on Russia. I was gaining subscribers faster than a lot of multiple contributor channels. And this is me and my one-man truth band here. But I was gaining subscribers faster than several other channels that had started right around the same time. But then I got proven right. And you know how people hate to watch somebody who's accurate and correct about things. People go on here because they want to be bullshitted, right? At least the people that are stupid as that guy. Oh. Like, if ever anybody's mama should have flushed them, you know? Jesus Christ. I'm gonna go ahead and end my little handy cam video. I got all of that on tape, Joey, by the way. I got that on my little mailable SD card here in my camcorder. I had it up to the screen while it was not on the window. Anyways. So, fortunately for me, there still are some important people who at least have aides that watch this channel. And I'm going to go ahead and speak to them now, as well as to Joey, of course, and to my other peeps who wind up watching every day. I thank y'all for watching and clicking like every single day. I really appreciate it. Anyways, I'm tired of making sure my head's in the camera, so I'm turning that off. Alright. Get the chat scooted a little bit. Aquarium back. Up. Alright. So, in the long tradition of leaders like Vladimir Putin and Joseph Stalin and Kim Jong-un, Donald Trump has called for a military parade. Yep. My wife works for a lawyer who wants to get into politics, so, or actually has been in politics, and is considering one day running again, but likes prosecuting cases for now. Anyways. Joey says, sweet, more evidence. That webcam doesn't look too well focused, does it? Which way I need to go? Oh yeah, that's a little better. I had this, look at that green blob down in the middle. It's a low light green monochlora. That's a plating coral. And if I let it just poke out of the shade a little bit, the part that sees the bright light dies. So it has to be sitting there in a cave. It just doesn't like light for some reason. Anyways, it's cool. That big Monty on the left, man, that thing is just growing like crazy. Put some glove polyps underneath it. So, Donald Trump has made numerous attempts to intimidate reporters, political opponents, and people in the government, including people in his own executive branch that he appointed. Now, the thing is, we don't play that shit in this country. That's not how we do business in politics here. Hi, Paige. Yes, go, Joey, go. Go already. Joey's wife needs attention. And she just had a baby. After many years of thinking that they couldn't have children. Well, miracles are real. And he's got to go attend to his right now. Anyways. I'm tempted to actually look up the letter of the racketeering law and post it up on here, but I'm afraid the search would be rather tedious because it's not something that I have researched recently, and I'm certainly not familiar with it enough to type any of it or quote any of it. But basically, racketeering typically entails a mafia-like group intimidating a local populace in order to get away with crimes. Now, this is why often mobsters are also charged with obstruction of justice. I think I'm going to upload that video from the troll earlier. Just going to have a little video starring that guy. Limited vocabulary now. Limited vocabulary. Camera. So, if you go back even to the primary, Donald Trump had already been intimidating reporters individually, inciting the crowd to intimidate the entire press corps in the back of the rallies that they were filming. Lying to the crowd's face, telling them they wouldn't show something that they were like broadcasting live sometimes. So racketeering doesn't have to be a guy with a baseball bat goes into your store and smashes the display cases. Racketeering is about intimidating people to cover up illegal activities. Now, what illegal activities? Well, first of all, one must fully understand the political purpose of Paul Manafort and the tactics that he was known for, and simply understand that those are the tactics that were brought to bear in the primaries. Now, it should be noted that the reason why no politician has ever been charged with racketeering, even though this seems like a, possible trajectory for a politician to go on, apparently he has. The politicians that do that in foreign countries are called dictators and despots. And usually it's America's job to see that they lose power. And thus it has been completely taboo, absurd, to even consider that someone would try to gain power in such a way in this country. But nonetheless, it has happened. So we have this problem of having our heads in a hole in the sand, avoiding things like treason, when what he did was exactly that. And we're not considering things like racketeering. Because, but he was just running for political office. Well, guess what? This is America. And we don't do things like that. And if you don't charge him with the appropriate crime, you are inviting people in the future to do the same. Whether they be Republican, Democrat, or possibly socialist. Now, In response to increasing pressure, Donald Trump has enlisted the help of members of Congress in his organized plot to obstruct justice. Now that this has not worked, and there are other members of Congress, including members of his own party, trying to, rein in the irresponsible actions of this White House occupant, he's called for a military parade. He's trying to build direct loyalty with the troops and flaunt it in the face of civilian government. He's trying to use the military to intimidate Congress. Now, maybe the hosts of Fox News find this acceptable, but I don't think Congress should. I don't think the military should. And I sure as hell don't think Robert Mueller should. The man is a tyrant. We hang tyrants here. Or do the words "don't tread on me" no longer mean anything in this country? But Congress today is demonstrating that they have oversight of the military. They have oversight of its leadership. I don't think that's going to be enough, though. And I'm really getting tired of holding people accountable after the fact, because it doesn't seem to be going very well. What Donald Trump is doing, with Russia's help, even to this day, is terrorism. It's cyber terrorism against the American people. As a mechanism of racketeering. He doesn't need an Italian guy with a baseball bat. He's got a Russian guy with 15 fucking YouTube accounts, Facebook accounts, Twitter accounts. Harassing everyone who doesn't fall in line, including members of Congress. And especially people doing their jobs at news organizations. They continue to be complicit with this psychological warfare being waged by the Russian Federation against the United States on Donald Trump's behalf. And that's it. Let's listen to Hearing some more.
We'll now take a brief recess in order to set the witness.
Or we'll take a recess.
Second panel. We'll take a 5-minute recess.
Well, so much for that, then. Let's see what else has happened in the news. Trump's lawyer got a lawyer. I wonder if that lawyer has a lawyer. Jeff Sessions thinks marijuana and opioid abuse are linked. That's why the countries that have legalized marijuana have such low opioid usage. What a moron. The Chinese sure are talking a lot of smack about us on their media lately. And meanwhile, while Trump's calling for a military parade, he's also calling for a government shutdown. So, hey, troops that we're not going to pay, come fucking do a parade for me. Gee. And I must say, this whole thing about canceling all of Obama's national parks, there was some previous restrictions that were going to expire. That's why Obama made them national parks. Now those restrictions are, none to be seen. So effectively, Trump has opened up all of these beautiful wildlife reserves to mining and drilling, whatever. Just gonna fuck it all up now. So good job, Russia. Thanks for, furthering the destruction of the planet like you always do. I wonder how the Vasarian cult members feel about that. We're not going to sanction Russia, but Mike Pence is announcing that we're going to have the toughest sanctions ever on North Korea. Oh boy. And then we're going to have a parade so we can be just like them. Oh, and we're going with tactical low-yield nukes. So just be ready. Russia that says they want to fucking use their tactical nukes, well, we're going to start using tactical nukes too. We can just tactically nuke each other until we're fucking blue in the face. Good job. Fucking morons. If you want to avoid a head-on confrontation with Russia, you need somebody besides their little fucking puppet. Because he's basically just gonna beam us right down that fucking path, and then we're not gonna see a goddamn hide nor hair of him again. He's just gonna disappear. No, he doesn't want to go to war with Russia. He just wants to go to war with Iran and North Korea, which are basically Putin's allies. Some of Russia's biggest military hardware clients, actually. And oh, the irony of Trump calling the Democrats treasonous for not standing and applauding him. Like, can you tell when someone has the same fucking mental complex as Kim Jong-un? These are the clearest indications you could possibly have. Oh, they might be fucking treasonous for not applauding his policies. Huh. That's fucking amazing to me. Especially considering that treason implies that someone gave aid and comfort to an enemy. Like Russia. I don't remember an American politician being treasonous in my lifetime. The only one I've ever fucking seen is Donald Trump and these fucking Tea Partiers that made this coup work. Joey's apologizing because his wife needed attention. I'm like, dude, go be with your wife if she's there. He's going to work for Acura after I spent a year persuading him to get out of the law enforcement business. And as soon as he listened to me, his wife got pregnant. How about that? Generally speaking, what happens when people listen to me is their life becomes blessed. All it takes is for people to listen to me. You know, like the people in Washington, D.C. You listen to me, and shit just goes your way. It's like, I'll make a deal with you. You do this, and you won't piss me off anymore. That'll be good for you. I'm just kidding. I tell people to do things because it's the best for them. I tell whoever will listen that Donald Trump needs to be charged with treason and racketeering because it's what's best for this country. It's what's best for our entire political system. Treason and racketeering. What crime was the racketeering trying to cover up? The same as the fucking obstruction of justice was. Treason. And Jared Kushner is the one who's very likely to be charged with accessory to cyber terrorism. Pence has received his briefing on the South Korean anti-missile system. I wonder how long it'll be before another meeting with Russians is set up. You wait for that, there's going to be another meeting soon. They're going to go somewhere where they can meet with Putin. Because he got some more intel to share with them. Oh yes, don't forget that John Kelly has said that some of the dreamers must be too fucking lazy to register. Too lazy to register. As opposed to being scared of being deported. You know what's fucking lazy is all these white people waiting around for Trump to get them jobs and pay raises and shit. That's fucking lazy. You know what's lazy is these fucking corporate windbags wanting fucking tax cuts so they can take home more fucking money. What's lazy is the fucking people investing in the stock market instead of local businesses. You just want fucking free money because your man got in office. And everybody just sucking each other's dicks, making this fucking stock bubble just bubble up. And it almost burst yesterday and the day before. But it's gonna be tanking soon. Because the truth is going to come out. It's going to rear its ugly head. And the people who cover for this motherfucker, they're going down in flames with him. Speaking of the stock market, I wonder what it's doing today. I guess it must be doing okay if there's, no news about it. Anyways. Doesn't look like I got any up-to-date info on the Dow. Let me refresh this other thing here.
I yield 1 minute to Leader Pelosi.
General is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I thank the gentlelady for yielding and congratulate her on her extraordinary leadership.
as the ranking Democrat on the Financial Services Committee. She has been a champion for America's working families, protecting consumers, protecting the taxpayer, doing so in a very balanced way, sensitive to the needs of all parties concerned. I'm so proud of her leadership and her service. Thank you, Congressman Waters. Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to the bad bill for hardworking Americans that's on the floor today. The cynically named Mortgage Choice Act provides anything but choice. Instead, it raises costs on consumers who have few alternatives. This is yet another attempt to stack the deck even further against working families. Mr. Speaker, this debate is another waste of time. Every day, courageous, patriotic dreamers lose their status. Every day, the American dream slips further out of reach. As members of Congress, we have a moral responsibility to act now to protect dreamers who are the pride of our nation and are American in every way, but on paper. So I use this occasion as opposing this bill to speak further about social justice in America. The American people want Congress to pass a DREAM Act. 84% of Americans support a path to citizenship for dreamers or permanent status. 88% of independents back a path to citizenship or permanent status. 70% of Republicans back either citizenship or permanent status. The 3 Bs, business, budgets, business, badges, our law enforcement community, and Bibles, are imploring Congress to pass the DREAM Act. Earlier this month, I stood with evangelical leaders to call on the Speaker to bring the DREAM Act to a vote for the sake of family, fairness, and respect for the spark of divinity within every person. There's nothing partisan or political about protecting dreamers. If a DREAM Act were brought to the floor, it would pass immediately with strong bipartisan support, and I commend my Republican colleagues for their courage in speaking out on this. Yet our dreamers hang in limbo with a cruel cloud of fear and uncertainty above them. The Republican moral cowardice must end. Members of Congress are trustees of the people and of our nation. Why are we here if not to protect the patriotic young people who are determined to contribute and to strengthen America? So I'm going to go on as long as my leadership minute allows. I want to speak to the Bible in Luke 10:25-37, the parable of the Good Samaritan.
Well, wasn't that special? Doesn't look like there's much else going on today. But I got a feeling something's gonna happen. Because I don't know, I'm just in one of those moods. And well, I'd like to send a bit of a message today. I think many different messages should be sent today, in fact. And on that bombshell, it's time to end. So thanks for watching, everybody and nobody. Click the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Peace.
We have the same process.
same things would apply. We would determine whether or not they should still serve in that job. In most cases, for a senior officer, if they've got an Article 15 or a letter of reprimand, they're going to be removed from that job immediately, and they'll go through an officer grade determination to follow.
So effectively, if somebody got a letter of admonition, forced to retire, reduced in rank in that retirement, is literally the equivalent of a fine of hundreds of thousands of dollars, am I correct?
That's correct.
General Walter.
Sir, we follow the same process. The one example I can give you, albeit is 10 years old, we had a selected 2-star. He had a substantiated finding on him. He was retired as an 06.
Wow.
So he didn't get a 2nd star. He retired as an 06, and I actually did the calculation last night. And if you compare his 06 retirement to an 08 retirement, what he really lost in compensation over a 30-year retirement, $1.9 million.
Mr.
Thank you all for your presentations, for your conversations yesterday. I guess this question can be asked of you as well. Could you inform us by letter of how many court-martials there have been of general officers? The chairman just talked about the potential of loss of rank and loss of hundreds of thousands of dollars over one's lifetime in retirement, although they still keep their retirement. I'm more interested in the value of a security clearance, because that's worth a lot of money, a whole lot more money than $200,000, frankly. And in some cases, these cases that have come before us where they have lied and done things that we would, question their moral turpitude, drunkenness. Under normal circumstances, someone could, in fact, lose their security clearance. But I wonder how many do lose their security clearance. Does anyone have any thoughts on that? And if you don't, you could also provide that to us for the record of these cases that we've seen so much prominence, and we can provide them to you if you don't know them off the top of your heads. I'd be curious to know how many actually lose their security clearance, because that's more valuable, I think, than many other things. Admiral, you talked about transparency in your opening remarks, and I think that is really important from the congressional oversight perspective. The DODIG does disclose substantiated cases, but to my knowledge, there isn't any means by which each of your services would disclose to Congress, for instance, of substantiated cases. Could you, each of you, inform us as to whether or not you would be supportive of that?
As far as the Army, this committee wants those cases, absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
No problem, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Admiral, the thought letter case has come up a number of times, and it is probably the most egregious case in the history, certainly of the Navy, if not the military in general. Because so many people were involved, and so many people corrupted by this individual, I'm stunned that there weren't any bystanders that spoke up. First question, how did it actually, there were a number of cases that were investigated by NCIS because there was bid rigging or overcharging for fuel or the like that he was engaged in. But many of those cases were dismissed. Have you done kind of a post-mortem on that to look at where the holes were within chain of command in terms of identifying the issues and addressing them?
Ma'am, I hope you'll respect this comment. It is an ongoing federal investigation by the Department of Justice and the U.S. Attorney. I'm very uncomfortable answering questions that could prejudice the case in any way, and so answering some of that, what you just asked, could potentially
cause us problems. And when it is done, and we're hopefully getting to the very end of this now, when it is done and all the files are turned over to us, we will do that. And there's a process in place to make sure that we evaluate every single case that comes to the Navy. Whether they're handled by the Department of Justice or not, they come to us for final resolution. And we cannot talk publicly about that until the Department of Justice is complete with their investigation.
No, I appreciate that, and I'm not asking you to do that, but from a policy standpoint, are there any new policies that you recognize would be helpful in preventing cases like this from exploding into scandals that are of proportions that it's hard to even comprehend?
Most of the issues revolve around the contracting for services in overseas ports. So we have taken a very strong turn on the process by which we do that. We put layers of oversight into how those contracts are issued and who is issuing them. That sort of training in our supply corps and in our general support corps. And we think that largely has helped us drive down the number of misconduct cases that have resulted outside the scope of the GMA case.
One last question. Bystanders. Do you think bystanders have a duty to report? That question for each of you.
Absolutely. In every single case. We talk a lot about this in sexual harassment training, sexual assault, but all what we would call behaviors that are destructive in nature. Oftentimes it can be quelled by a bystander, and we try to teach that value to everyone.
Completely agree.
Yes, ma'am. We teach, see something, say something.
Mr. Bacon, you're now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all of you being here and your leadership. I would like to just go back to a question I asked in the previous panel about the different spanks for different ranks. Do you think we're holding people equally accountable in your view, whether it's a mid-level senior NCO to a senior officer? Thank you.
My previous, I was Commanding General of the 101st Airborne Division for 3 years, had General Court Martial Authority, handled a lot of the cases at the lower level, and now as the Vice Chief of Staff of the Army for the last 7.5 months, I believe we hold everyone appropriately accountable. And when we look at senior officers, we expect a higher standard from them, and when they don't meet the standards, we hold them accountable.
Thank you. Admiral Moran?
Yes, sir. Both Jim and I served as prior ones, which are our personnel commands, and in every disciplinary case, every single one that reaches the level of where we're trying to determine if someone
it's not a zero defect mentality. I would say it's almost a zero defect mentality the higher up you go.
I know I appreciated second chances when I was 18 and 19.
Yes, sir. Me too.
I wanted to just sort of pose a rough hypothetical, and whoever wants to speak up on it. I think part of the issue is if you have someone who's served honorably for 30 years, say they're a 1 or 2 star at that point, and then you're 31 and 32 as a 3-star, maybe involved in a professional relationship or whatever it may be, and then you have to determine at retirement, do you go back to the 2-star or 1-star, versus someone say at the 8-year point, and they do something similar. How hard is that from your perspective to determine? Is going back rank to the 30-year point, or should it even be more serious depending on the crime or action taken? How hard is that when you're making these determinations, I guess? Because my point being is sometimes we go back to last rank honorably served, but yet if it's a junior enlisted or something, that maybe they suffer career-ending decision there. So I'd just be curious for your insights.
Perhaps I could illuminate a little bit, sir. The great determination is a process that is in place for all of us. But the reminder is, I don't care if it's a junior Marine or a senior Marine, if the action is criminal, then there's no rank involved. We've had one in the last 5 years where it was a senior officer at 06, and he's 0.
And they would retire with no rank. Or
He gets no retirement,
they're
he's in
separated.
jail, and he's zero. He's got no rank at all.
Any other comments?
I'll follow along with the comments. I agree. There's a difference. We've had two court martials, and one I won't talk about right now, but that have been adjudicated